What if I told you that the most powerful military building in the world hides more than it reveals? The Pentagon, a place that controls the largest defense force on the planet, is not just about strategies and soldiers. Behind its walls, there are secrets that rarely see the light of day. Secrets that involve trillions of dollars, hidden projects, and decisions that affect every single one of us without our knowledge. Most people see the Pentagon as just another government office, but in reality, it's a machine built on secrecy. Stay with me until the end of this video, because I promise you'll discover truths that are rarely spoken out loud. Truths the Pentagon would rather you never question. The Pentagon is not just a building. It's a symbol of power, control, and secrecy. Located right outside Washington, D.C., is the headquarters of the United States Department of Defense. Inside, over 20,000 people work every single day. These include military leaders, strategists, scientists, and contractors. Together, they run the largest and most advanced military force in the world. But what makes the Pentagon different from other government offices is not just its size. It's the reach it has over every corner of U.S. defense and global influence. Think about this. The Pentagon manages a defense budget that is bigger than the next several countries combined. Each year, hundreds of billions of dollars flow through its hands. With this much money and power, the Pentagon is more than an office. It is a force that shapes wars, technology, and foreign policy. What it decides can change the course of history. And yet, most of what happens there is invisible to the public eye. On the surface, the Pentagon appears to be transparent. It issues press releases, holds briefings, and releases public reports. But that's only part of the story. Behind the official statements lies a deep layer of secrecy. Entire programs are classified. Technologies are developed without public knowledge. Even large amounts of money are spent without explanation. The Pentagon claims this secrecy is necessary for national security. And maybe some of it is. But when so much is hidden, how can ordinary people ever know where their tax dollars really go? This is why the Pentagon has always fascinated and worried the public. It is both a guardian and a gatekeeper. It protects the nation, but it also shields itself from full accountability. And that balance of power and secrecy is exactly what we're going to uncover next. Every year, the Pentagon receives a budget so massive, it's hard to imagine. We're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars. That's more than what most countries in the world spend on everything, not just defense. On paper, the Pentagon explains where the money goes: troops, equipment, research, and security. But here's the catch. Not all of it is explained. A huge part of the budget is hidden in what's known as the black budget. The black budget is a pool of money that funds secret projects. These projects are not openly debated in Congress. They are not detailed in public reports. In fact, most of the time, even elected officials don't know the full story. Billions of dollars vanish into programs we only hear about years later, if at all. Think of stealth aircraft like the F-117 or the B-2 bomber. For years, they were developed in complete secrecy, with costs hidden from the public eye. Only when they were ready to be revealed did people learn where some of the money had gone. Now, imagine how much is happening right now that we don't know about. Advanced weapons, artificial intelligence, surveillance systems. These could all be swallowing billions in hidden spending. And while these projects are justified as protecting national security, they also raise a big question. Who is really watching the money? For ordinary citizens, this secrecy matters more than we realize. Every dollar in the Pentagon's budget comes from taxpayers. It comes from you. When huge sums are hidden, it means there's less accountability. It means decisions are being made without your knowledge or input. And it leaves us wondering, what else is buried in those numbers that we will never be told? Some of the most mysterious parts of the Pentagon's work are its secret projects. These are programs so classified that only a handful of people know the full details. They often start in hidden labs with scientists and engineers working under strict silence. Even workers inside the Pentagon may not know the full scope. Each project is protected under layers of security, designed to keep both enemies and the public in the dark. History shows us how deep this secrecy goes. For example, the stealth aircraft programs were hidden for years. By the time the world saw the F-117 or the B-2 bomber, billions had already been spent in secret. The same was true with drones. What started as secret experiments later became mainstream tools of war. If these massive projects were once hidden, it makes you wonder, what is being built right now that we won't hear about until decades later? Many believe the Pentagon is working on technology that feels closer to science fiction than reality. Hypersonic weapons that can travel faster than 5 times the speed of sound. Artificial intelligence systems that can control battlefields. Even next-generation space and cyber weapons. While these may sound like ideas from movies, the budgets show that something is being developed. The details, though, remain locked away under the label of classified. The secrecy might make sense for defense. After all, no country wants its rivals to know its next move. But this wall of silence also hides mistakes, wasted money, and sometimes even dangerous experiments. When the Pentagon controls both the money and the information, the public is left with nothing but guesses. And behind those guesses could be projects so advanced they could change the balance of power across the world without us even knowing. The Pentagon doesn't just build weapons and run wars. It also controls information. What the public hears about military actions, technology, or spending is carefully managed. Every press briefing, every official statement, and every leak is part of a larger system designed to shape what people believe. Classified documents are the first wall of control. Once something is marked top secret, it's locked away from the public eye. Even journalists and lawmakers struggle to access it. This creates a gap between what is really happening and what people are allowed to know. When stories about hidden programs or secret missions do come out, it's often years later, and usually only after the Pentagon has decided it's safe to share. Leaks are another layer of this battle. From time to time, insiders have revealed shocking information. Think about the Pentagon Papers during the Vietnam War, or more recent leaks about surveillance and covert operations. These moments give the public a rare glimpse behind the curtain. But notice what happens afterward. The focus quickly shifts from the information itself to punishing the person who leaked it. The message is clear: control the flow of knowledge at all costs. Even the media often relies on the Pentagon for access and information. That means the stories we read or watch may be filtered, leaving out details that the Pentagon doesn't want highlighted. The result is a polished version of events, far from the messy and often troubling reality. This system of information control raises a big question. If the truth is constantly hidden, how much of what we think we know is real? And how much is simply what the Pentagon wants us to believe? Throughout history, some of the Pentagon's best-kept secrets have eventually surfaced. And when they do, the truth often shocks the public. These revelations remind us that what is hidden today may only come to light years from now. Take the Manhattan Project, for example. Though it began long before the Pentagon was even built, it set the pattern for secrecy. Thousands of people worked on developing the atomic bomb, yet most of them didn't even know the full scope of the project. The world only learned the truth after the bombs were dropped on Japan. That was the first sign of how far military secrecy could go. Decades later, the Pentagon Papers exposed another layer of hidden truth. These classified documents revealed that U.S. leaders had been misleading the public about the Vietnam War. The government's own reports showed a grim reality, but the official story told Americans something very different. The leak shook the nation and proved that information was being managed to maintain support for war. More recently, secret programs have surfaced around surveillance, drone warfare, and even cyber operations. Each time, the pattern repeats, at first denied, then quietly admitted, and finally accepted as normal. By the time the public learns about these programs, they've often been running for years in the shadows. These revelations matter because they show us that hidden projects are not rare. They are a constant part of how the Pentagon operates. What is secret today could reshape the future without our knowledge. And if history is any guide, the next revelation will not come willingly. It will come when secrecy can no longer be maintained. Why does all this secrecy matter? Because it isn't just about weapons, wars, or technology. It's about power, money, and trust. Every dollar the Pentagon spends comes from taxpayers. That means ordinary people are funding projects they will never see and decisions they will never get to question. When so much is hidden, democracy itself begins to weaken. Secrecy creates distance between citizens and the truth. Without full knowledge, people can't hold leaders accountable. If mistakes are buried, lessons are never learned. If money is wasted, no one can stop it. And if dangerous experiments are carried out in the shadows, the public may only learn about them when it's too late. This silence benefits those in power, not those who pay the price. It also shapes the way we understand the world. If the Pentagon controls the narrative, then the truth we believe may be carefully crafted. Wars can appear justified, projects can appear harmless, and costs can appear smaller than they are. But beneath the surface, the reality may be very different. That hidden reality can affect foreign policy, international relations, and even the rights and freedoms of everyday citizens. At its core, this isn't just about military secrets. It's about whether a free society can truly stay free if so much is kept behind closed doors. The Pentagon might argue that secrecy is needed for safety, and in some cases, that might be true. But history shows us that unchecked secrecy often leads to abuse. And that's why what the Pentagon doesn't want you to know should matter to everyone. The Pentagon is more than just a building of 5 sides. It is a fortress of power, money, and secrets. From black budgets to hidden projects, from controlled narratives to revelations that come too late, one thing is clear. We are only ever told a fraction of the story. What we don't see often matters more than what we do. This raises the question, how much do we really know? If history has shown us anything, it's that the truth always takes years to surface. And by the time it does, the damage is often done, the money already spent, the decisions already made. That is why understanding and questioning the Pentagon's silence is so important. So the next time you hear about defense, spending, secret programs, or official statements, remember, what you're being told is likely only the surface. The deeper layers remain hidden, locked away from the very people who fund and live under their impact. In the end, the Pentagon doesn't just defend a nation. It also guards its own secrets. And maybe the biggest question of all is this. If the truth is hidden from us, how can we ever know what kind of world is really being built in our name? Stay curious, stay critical, and never stop asking questions. Because sometimes the most important truths are the ones we're not supposed to know.